Good afternoon, everyone. Like you said, my name is Katie Dugal Simpson. I'm actually from and reside in New Orleans, Louisiana, and this is my first time in Canada and my first time attending the summit. So it's been really great so far, and I'm just genuinely honored to be here in a room full of high-level performers who are willing to continue to learn and grow. I think that says a lot about who y'all are as leaders and the impact you're making. I'm also here as a learner and grower, so excited to be here. Yesterday was very impactful and looking forward to the sessions this afternoon. Before we dive in, I want to start with a quick reflection. I want you to think about the first person who truly believed in you, maybe when you didn't believe in yourself yet, and what that belief unlocked for you. So I want you to think about that person. Maybe it's an early mentor in your career. Maybe it's a high school coach or a friend from a church group. And think about what that belief unlocked for you. For me, that was our managing partner who was our CEO. I was the chief marketing officer for Northwestern Mutual of Louisiana and Mississippi. We had 6 offices and over 130 advisors. And while being a CMO was an awesome title, I felt like the marketing consultations I was doing, we were kind of on a loop because I would meet with financial advisors and we would have all these great ideas and strategy, but there was little to no follow through, and we were constantly meeting and getting frustrated and sometimes almost humorous, like we were meeting about the same things. One advisor had joked one time and said, "Hey, if I pay you on the side, would you just be able to handle some of my marketing?" And I was like, why did I never think of that before? So I brought that idea to our managing partner, our CEO, and he did not just tell me yes, he said, run with it. So I spent a year researching and fact-finding the needs of our advisors on a marketing level, which led me to create Rad Marketing, which is a social media subscription based, so that way advisors could take some part of their marketing off of their plate. And now you might be thinking, how did I land on social media? That was just the need of the advisors in our firm. I feel like this was in 2020, and so social media was becoming more relevant. We were getting more access to social media platforms in the financial industry, and so just really excited our advisors, and so that's what we landed on. So we launched in 2021 Rad Marketing subscription, and this was just a social media subscription where we're taking content that is relevant to our advisors and what they're doing and who they're trying to reach, and just doing something consistent on the social media platforms. I started with 5 advisors in this pilot program, so 3 were fairly new in the business. One was a career changer. It was 2020, so COVID, he's switching to the financial industry. He was very new in the business. One advisor was in leadership. He was about 3 years in the financial industry, but he was also in leadership, leading our college internship program. So interesting to kind of market himself, but also the internship program. And then we had another advisor that was in his 5th year, but he was in a office where it was kind of just him by himself, and so he was learning to kind of build his own network and his brand in that area. And then I had 2 more veteran advisors. One was a female that had been in the business for 20 years, and then one was a wealth management advisor who did not believe in social media, and he was like, I do not think this is gonna work, but whatever, I trust you, let's try it. So this is what we did. We just did some consistent content that I created and executed for them. We were posting these probably 2 to 3 times a week in a mix with articles. So really looking at who their target market was and what they were trying to do and accomplish, but doing intentional, consistent content for 6 months. And what we found was higher engagement and reach. Obviously, 2 of advisors had 2 direct leads and some of the best clients that came from Facebook. And the biggest win was that they felt they were having more conversations because of their digital presence, and they felt more connected to their audience because they were on social media and because they showed up online in an intentional way. This was some of their direct feedback, which I loved. Was the coolest feeling is someone recognizing who you are from Facebook and knowing you as a finance guy that all his buddies are using. This program is incredibly valuable, consistency, high engagement. This was kind of the first time these advisors were seeing their brand come to life on a social media platform, so it was really new and engaging for them. Now, this 5-person pilot quickly turned into 25 people in this program within the first year in our Louisiana and Mississippi territory, so it grew, the interest was there. We actually ended up doing 2 tiers for social media. So we had social media support and execution, and then we did a higher tier that was social media with marketing support. So I found a lot of advisors, once we were doing creative content, they wanted marketing collateral or other marketing support to go with it. And within 2 years, I had kind of had clients within Northwestern Mutual across the country just by word of mouth, and the value of just having a fractional marketing person take that off their plate. A lot of people, they had a marketing assistant or someone in operations, but once again, marketing is always put on the back burner, and having someone control just your digital presence and how you're showing up online was very valuable. 3 things that I learned quickly from the growth within 2 years is framing over posting. So advisors don't just need content, they also need positioning. Some advisors were like, I want to be on social media and I want to be on it right now. But their website didn't look good, their LinkedIn didn't look good, they didn't have anything that matched what they were trying to do. So how can we frame them before we're doing a social media strategy? The next is, what does ROI mean to you? Some just wanted growth, some just wanted marketing off their plate and consistency, some were very in tune to metrics, so really defining what that meant to each advisor, and knowing that whatever ROI meant to them, it's still valid, but it's different for each person. Whenever I started the pilot, it was just consistency, and then as it grew, people are like, oh, well, let's look at the numbers and how can we really be intentional with what we're doing, and so just making sure that we're really defining that. And the next is scaling with structure. So every advisor is different, every market is different, and so creating systems around that, so that way I'm not recreating the wheel over and over again. What I care about most and what I learned that was the most important, I believe, in my experience with launching this, is how we are framed online. So whenever you are meeting with someone or a client or prospect looks you up, what they see online is their first impression of you, and it's how they're framing you. And so we look at, before I do anything, we're like, how are you being framed? Whenever you Google yourself, what pops up? How are you engaging on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok? And what does that say about you and who you are? Because these clients and prospects are trusting you with something that's very intimate, their financial conversations. And it doesn't matter, you know, how you are in person. If what you look like online isn't aligned with what they're looking for, that's an easy way to either build or destroy trust. So we look up how you're showing up, what people are looking like, how do you compare to other people that you're working with, and really just starting with how we're being framed. The next thing I do is I go through a marketing fact finder with advisors. So if you're an advisor or you are meeting with a client and you're onboarding them, you probably have some sort of fact finder or onboarding booklet where you go through who they are, what their goals are, what do their finances look like, so that way you can build a financial plan for your client or prospect. Same thing with marketing. I found that there wasn't one, at least where I work, and so I created one that goes through their mission, their vision, their values, What has worked in marketing that, or what have they done in marketing that really worked well, and what have they done in marketing that maybe did not work so well? How are they showing up on social media? What does their ideal client look like, or who are they meeting with right now that maybe they want to meet with other people? And I use this as just kind of a playbook for not only how we're framing them, but how we do our social media strategy and any marketing initiatives that might evolve from the work that we're doing. And this goes into everything. So the marketing playbook, it goes into their website, their social media, and any other materials that we use. Because if I know what they stand for, who they're trying to market, it just makes the process overall easier. And so it just feeds into everything, and I've really found that it's just a great resource or book to have whenever we look at business or marketing plans for individuals in their firm. From there, I want them to fall in love with their brand online. So we look at developing a social media strategy that's just for them. We build a content calendar so that way we are posting with intention. And then we look at growth and optimizing and maintaining that social media profile. I focus on 3 key areas whenever I look at social media strategy. One is personalization, so showing your family, your team, your community. I love whenever I work with advisors that have kids and they make funny faces or do funny things. This picture is an advisor that I work with. She took her daughter to Disney, and I'd posted this picture going on a ride. And so we had just captioned it like, "Are you scared of financial free falls?" So just kind of taking what you're doing or showcasing real people, what you're doing in the community, and then relating it back to financial planning. The second is thought leadership. So we're posting financial education, but using your voice. So just taking financial literacy pieces and making sure that the language that you would use in a meeting is kind of how we are presenting it online and doing it in a very pleasing way. And then niche content, so we're speaking to who you're trying to reach, whether that's medical professionals, business owners, the medical market, attorneys, whatever that is, we're tailoring content to that market. We also look at what makes you different than the rest. So this is an advisor that I work with. Her name's Anitra. She is actually the most tenured Black female advisor in Northwestern Mutual, one of the most tenured Black female advisors at Northwestern Mutual. She has 18 plus years in the business, and something that we work on with her is she's really targeting the Black community and specifically Black females. And so we share her story, and she wants to empower Black females, whether they're single, married, divorced, widowed. So all of our content is being tailored towards that. In addition, there is a need for more Black females in financial services, so we're positioning her as being a stepping stool and being a leader and mentoring other women that want to get into the industry. So this is a campaign that we had did for Black History Month, where we're like, she is Black history, and we threw some statistics in there. So really just positioning to that market and what is going to make her different and stand out in that marketplace. Here's another example of an advisor. His business is kind of built on faith and family. So he is moving into a new building in a few months, and they did a prayer walk throughout the building where they prayed over the walls in the conferences room where they'll have the most intimate conversations. And that's just something unique to them, and they're showcasing that this is something that they believe in and love to do. We also showcase their awards, so Best in State Wealth Management Advisor, and then what they're doing in the community. So they went to the Berkshire in Omaha with Warren Buffett, and we did kind of like an interview style reel to showcase what they learned and what they can bring back to their clients. And then what makes you the firm of choice for your market? So here's another firm. They're heavily targeting 1099 medical market and business owners. So we showcase that They're doing planned giving at local universities, and inflation is up, but the cost of protecting your future isn't. And just making sure that if you're a business owner or medical professional and you look at their profile, what they're posting is resonating with what you're going through. Here's some other examples of content that we put out. So National 401k Day, we're kind of highlighting different awareness days that align with the market, designations to show your expertise, events that would increase the need for life insurance, baby registry finance edition. So there was an advisor, he just had his first child, and so we kind of did a play on a baby registry, but for finance. And then we also bring some fun to it. So March Madness Financial Planning Edition, Cinco de Mayo, the pumpkin spice latte, this advisor approves of it. So just kind of throw in some fun content in there as well that shows their personalities. And then also celebrating the people within the firm. So anytime an advisor, is on a podcast or wins an award or we're welcoming a new team member, I have a list of anniversaries and birthdays for all the advisors and all of their team members. So we make sure that we highlight those as well. And we find that actually whenever we highlight what the team is doing, not just the advisor, and whenever we highlight females, we get a lot more engagement than highlighting the actual advisor. And then there's different levels of different branding. So a lot of financial advisors I find are not just marketing their business, but they're marketing the career opportunity too, of why you should go independent or join their firm or join the financial industry. So if I'm working with an advisor that is also kind of in that dual role, then we make sure that we incorporate recruiting as a part of their social media strategy, so that way we can showcase both sides of the financial industry. Here are just some examples. We are highlighting people getting promoted. We are highlighting what some of the staff and team are doing within the firm, highlighting just different awards and designations, so that way we can showcase what the advisors in the firm are doing and just kind of make it appealing to where people are thinking like, that could be me, or what's going on with the firm and how they're growing. I was in Atlanta last week and I was meeting with one of the recruiters, and this was a quote that she said that I just thought was really powerful, and it shows the power of showing up well and showing up consistently. She had connected with our team 4 years ago, just on social media, and she recently joined our firm because she said what she's seen over the last 4 years and how we're growing and what we're doing in the community is something that she wanted to be a part of. And so she had reached out to one of our other recruiters who set a meeting with her, and then we welcomed her to the team. So it's just really powerful to see that the power of showing up and being intentional and being consistent does have impact. And this might be hard to see, but this is a content calendar that I use. So I have social media content. I'll go through customized content, awareness days, holidays, birthdays, anniversaries, and then I have a section for any team events or client events or any campaigns going on with that specific firm. So that way everyone on the team knows what's going on. We're all in alignment, and they can kind of get a big picture of, like, if we have a team event, we know that we're going to be highlighting or doing a recap of the team event on social, or if we have a client event, or if an advisor is speaking, then we know, hey, we want to get some content so that way we can showcase what they're doing. And then how we measure branding. So I feel like measuring branding is something that's very difficult. But I call this the 3 wheels of success. So we look at engagement, making sure that our likes are increasing, our engagement is increasing. We're looking at this month after month. We're looking at their production. So is their revenue increasing? Are they getting new clients? Is there a business goal that they're trying to achieve that maybe we're helping them work towards by the way that we position and market them? And if they achieved it, then we know that our marketing efforts maybe not got them the award, but definitely played a part in making that happen. And then I think the most important is client feedback, because whenever advisors will tell me like, oh, so-and-so really loved this article, or they reached out to me because they loved that we highlighted Sarah doing this, or whatever it might be, it really excites that advisor. And then this is the example of the social tracking that we do. So we have a sheet that we keep in addition to just using Meta, where we'll track Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn for different likes, reach, engagement, and we'll review this every month to see what's working. Maybe Facebook is doing better this month than Instagram, or vice versa. So we kind of look at that and then tailor content based on those analytics. And then the elephant in the room is compliance. So I feel like whenever we think about financial services and compliance, it gets advisors really nervous or scared because they don't know all the compliance rules or don't want to try anything just in case compliance comes in the room. But it's really, I found, educating others on the reasoning for compliance. So whatever that reason might be, if you can't do certain things, making sure that you're just really well educated and finding creative ways to make it work within the realm. I always partner with our compliance team and say, like, this is what I'm trying to do. Where's the gray area? How can we make this work? How can we reposition this so that way the advisor can get what they want? And then I feel like anyone could do a subscription program, like based on whatever your needs are, but the real key to building any program is the relationship. So I am ingrained with the relationships with all the advisors I work with. Although I'm fractional CMO, they view me as a part of our team, of their team. Their wins are my wins and vice versa. So I feel like the more you ingrain with advisors and their team in particular, the better the relationship is, the better the program is, aside from your generic likes and engagement and overall success. So I want to leave you with 3 things. One is find what gives you energy. I was a CMO for probably 7 or 8 years, and then we launched the social media program, and it really gave me a lot of energy and a newfound appreciation for impact and just being in the financial services. Build a fact finder. So if you do want to start a subscription or working with a marketing professional, or if you are a marketing professional, making sure that we have a fact finder that looks the overall marketing plan as you plan year after year, and then audit how you and your advisors are framed and how you compare to other people in the room or other people in your industry. And then the last thing that I want to leave with is this belief that has just really shaped the way I see things, like not just in marketing, but in the digital world, is it's not about who you see, it's about who sees you. This is something that my dad has ingrained in my head since I was in high school, where, you think marketing and you're like, who am I going to reach? Who am I trying to target? And you're thinking about the people that you're going to meet with. But 9 out of 10 times, you're not really thinking about who's really seeing you. So at first, it used to be like how you show up places. So if I was going to college class in like sweatpants or going to a networking event, it's like, oh, it doesn't matter. Like, I'm not running into so-and-so, or I'm not going to see this person, so I might dress differently. My dad would say, well, it's not about who you see, it's about who sees you. And at first I was like, okay, Dad's just being protective or whatever. But in today's digital world, it doesn't matter if you're in sweatpants or in a suit. People are looking you up, and that's their first impression of you before you even stutter a word or meet with them. And so as you set meetings and do things, you have COIs, recruits, clients, prospects. They're Googling you and making that first impression. And your presence is your perception. So it's just really important, if you don't take anything from today, just knowing that the awareness of it's not who you see, it's who sees you. And then let's stay connected. So I have my Instagram, my LinkedIn, and then I have my contact information. So the contact information has a copy of the Marketing Fact Finder I created. If you want to steal it, download it, refine it, just kind of give you a starting point to build your framework. Thank you.
Good. Do you want to take questions?
Yeah, that's fine.
Any questions? Going once?
Oh, yeah.
Hello, Jennifer, CIBC Mellon. I had a question about imagery. I find, especially like all these different platforms, let's just say LinkedIn, for example, I find you need to have a photo and it drives, engagement, et cetera. So I'm wondering if you have any tips about creating those images. I assume it's your firm that creates it for the advisors, but for us here, is there a certain like a program that you suggest, or any tips at all? Obviously, we want it to be high res, but any commentary that you could provide, any quick tips on the photos? Thank you.
Yeah, so for the advisors, I always suggest doing a branding photo shoot, and I'll help guide them on how to do like a mock meeting or different things, so that way we have photos to use, not just for a team photo for their website, but we could use it throughout social. So we try to do at least like 2 photo shoots a year for that advisor, depending on how many images we get. Outside of that, like using family photos, or if they're on vacation and we want to highlight that they're, I don't know, visiting this conference, for example. Like if I know that they're going somewhere or doing something, I'm always like, take pictures. And it kind of takes them a while to get it. And by the time we're like working 4 or 5 months, they're like, all right, we're going to this, we're taking a picture for Katie. So that, I hope that helps. Other than that, I'll just use like generic photos if I'm using something, and I use Canva for to access pictures.
I think there's a question over here too.
Hi, thanks for your generosity in sharing your playbook. And I think you almost answered my question with your last answer. But when I put my hand up, I was just thinking about scalability, and like, are you using some type of like social platform to scale posting on behalf of all of these advisors? And I imagine that they're kind of working within the same general geographic area. So are you doing anything to make sure that they're not kind of competing against each other?
Yes. So Northwestern Mutual uses a platform called Sprinkler, where we'll schedule out, we can compliantly use Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. And while they all market similar markets, I just do different fonts, different brand voices, so that way they're not necessarily like putting out the same content, but we're getting the same message across. So they each kind of have their own profile, and I don't cross them or anything.
Katie, thank you very much.
Thank you. Here.